Hello, Sakib here, and day 2. What was the first, before anything else, what are we talking about today? Yeah, I thought, today, we can talk about, the concept of first principles. I did the first video on YouTube yesterday. Wanted it to be more of just conversation content. I don't know if it's a vlog or anything of that sort that people want to call it, but it was more along the lines of, hey, this is day 1, first video on YouTube. Talked about why I started the channel. It's just to engage with some cool people and have good conversations. Nothing more than that. I don't think there's anything much to be had here. I talked about some ideas. Today, I thought, speaking of that, we may want to talk about first principles. Okay. Well, I think someone crashed a car. Or, broke some glasses, or something happened. Either way, the guy was nice enough to clean up his mess. So, excuse the interruption. Okay, first principles. Interesting thing that is, it's something people throw around all the time, especially in the tech world or in the science world. You probably have heard it from guys like Elon Musk. Probably he's the most famous one. He's the most famous guy in the world right now. But he's someone who talks about it quite often. You also hear from the schools of engineering or the School of Hard Sciences, basically. But rarely is the case. Ooh, I'm sorry, I don't know if you can tell. It's quite sunny. Rarely is the case that people talk about it in relatable terms. So I thought, let's talk about it with a different example. The most common example that people talk about is the one with the battery, or how Elon Musk, from first principles, the Tesla battery pack came to be, or his engineering of SpaceX rockets. And I thought, that's great if you really appreciate engineering and understand that. However, it's very hard for many people to relate to and understand. So maybe we try something from the school of something that's more relatable day to day, like training, health, fitness. Also, it's like I'm doing this while going to the gym, and I don't think I know a ton about working out or training or anything like that, but it has helped. When I look at things from the point of view of first principles, not just when it came to work, but also when it came to physical training, nutrition, diet, and all that thing. So thought we would try to understand first principle by that. Now, what is first principle, without me just keep going on, without me just keep talking about things that is not first principles? It's basically bringing something down, and please correct me if you think I'm wrong or if I didn't do a good job explaining. This is an opportunity for me to explain my understanding and also polish out things I think may be wrong, or I think is right, but excuse me, in reality is wrong. And so first principles is basically bringing things down to their most fundamental level, in a simple way, and building up our reasoning from that one. I'm sure there are better ways to explain that, but it it's simply breaking things down to smaller and smaller pieces till we can't really bring them down anymore, and then we try to build our reasoning back up from it. So maybe an example would help. I'm probably not doing a very good job at explaining it. If you were to take a look at physical fitness and health, and like many people talk about bodybuilding and things like that, okay, sure, we can take that route. Most people assume that in order to be like good, healthy, fit, whatever you want to say, you just eat healthy, fruits, vegetables. That's the trend. That's how the trend goes. Or rice and broccoli and chicken. That, and you get sleep. Okay, cool. 7 to 8 hours of sleep or something, and you work out for like half an hour to 40 minutes or 50 minutes a day. That's great and all that, and like, is it likely to get some results? Yeah, sure, it'll probably get some good results. I'm not denying that it won't, but unlikely that 40 minutes of workout without any specifics in mind, or just eating chicken, broccoli, and rice and just going to sleep, and getting like 7 to 8 hours of sleep will get you world-class results. Now, caveat to this, I do have to say that a good idea done or executed with world-class consistency, that's every single day, day in and day out, leads to phenomenal results, from my observation. So, like, if you have the discipline to do that and just keep on doing that one thing again and again and again, sure, I get that. You probably will get results better than majority of the people. However, what I'm here trying to say is that there's a better way of doing that. So let's just break down training, fitness, health, whatever, into let's just say 3 categories. We'll just call training, like physical training, which is a stimulus. We will call then you have nutrition, which is food and whatnot, and which is what you need to like actually grow, and then you have the recovery part of it, which is basically sleep. Okay, so we haven't really gone that granular yet. Now, this is where the fun begins, I think. If we were to take a look at the training part, we can divide it into like many ways, or just go into much deeper categories, such as we could do like aerobic, anaerobic. If you're looking to train or look a particular way, do you want bigger legs? Do you want bigger arms? Do you just want to be able to run longer? Do you want to be able to swim faster? Whatever it may be, you can go categorize, and you can again subcategorize those kind of things. So we can take a look at like bodybuilding, swimming, sports. Doesn't matter. Like pick a sport you want, but. And even inside these kind of sports, you can have bodyweight sports compared to weightlifting sports. Like a bodybuilder trains a particular way compared to an Olympic lifter or Olympians, and both of them train very differently from a sprinter, and so on. So you can have that too. Like, let's just say that sport now. That's like, I can go on and on about this one, but let's move on to the next one, which is nutrition. The nutrition part is another cool thing as well, is because now you have to start breaking food down. You take food and you can break it down to macro and micro like nutrients. We'll leave micronutrients to the side for now. That's where vitamins, minerals, and all those good stuff come in. Let's just talk about macronutrients, and we have fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Now, okay, what next? Well, the next thing is, when it comes to fat, let's talk about calories. 1 gram of fat, we know, is around 9 calories. 1 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. Okay? So now we understand food at a level and that we can actually calculate calories by weighing the food itself, which is like you'll see many people who do weigh their food. This is the math that they're using. You're not always bound to the label. It really helps when you're buying food directly, but what about when you're prepping the food, when you're doing meal preps? That's where these kind of numbers come in. So okay, now we know like carbs, proteins, fats, and we know what each of the calories they contain, but we can build our reasoning back up from there. Okay, you know what, if we want to, let's just say, gain weight, I'm not going to talk about gaining muscle versus losing muscle on a calorie surplus, calorie deficit. That's a different conversation altogether. But let's just say if we want to give ourselves a slight caloric advantage, well, our total intake of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats should at least exceed to a little bit our daily expenditure of calories. So whatever we consume should be a bit more than should be a bit more than what we burn, given we're giving our body the stimulus for training. And then comes recovery. Let's just go into the recovery sector. Now we're talking about sleep. We're talking about, well, most people talk about sleep, but beyond that, there's so many other things as well. You can take a look at hormones. You can take a look at blood work. But again, like, not going into too much depth. Let's just say that we need an X amount of sleep for our body to recover. 7, 8, whatever you want to put it in. I don't want to either want this to become a conversation about like physical training. The goal is to talk about first principles. So what have we learned? Our initial understanding was that we want to train 30 to 40 minutes a day, nothing specific. Eat broccoli, chicken, rice, whatever the thing is, and sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. Will we become healthier? Maybe. I don't know. It depends on your current level of fitness that you have. It might work for someone who may not be in a very healthy state, but it's very unlikely that this will give a world-class athlete or a top-tier athlete better results than what they're doing now. However, the second option that we talked about, which gets more granular, is the amount of protein, fats, carbohydrates we consume. How many calories each of those things have. What kind of training we are doing. Are you training for endurance, training for strength, training for aesthetics, looks-wise, or anything of that sort? Combined with your recovery, and like that's another science, is like how food interact with or what kind of food has what kind of hormonal effect. If you optimize for all of those, chances are whatever your goal is, you'd be, I think it's a fair assumption to say that you'd be closer to that goal than you would be if we just went the standard diet route. I don't know if I explained it well enough. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't, or if I missed something. Please, let me know. Tell me what you think. I appreciate any feedback. It also irons out my understanding. That's where first principles come in. I think that first principles not only helps engineering or people who study engineering, but we can use so much of that to better understand everything around us, or like any project you're taking on. Question all the assumptions. Is like, is what I'm being told, or is what I'm seeing, or is what I'm thinking, is it actually a fact, or am I taking it for granted? Especially anything, if you're talking about like at least action, projecting change into the world, anything that makes a physical impact, or it has relation to physics, could be moving something, could be doing something, could be taking a project, learning something, anything along those lines. It's like, take a look at the assumptions that's being made, and I think we should do that at any given time, and see if we can break it down to its fundamental principles and build our reasoning back up from there. I mean, it's a brilliant tool, I think, and it's very sad that it's mostly used in the sciences, because I do think that it makes us better decision makers, and it allows us to make good life decisions, or like any other simple decisions that we want to make, any general decision that we want to make. It doesn't have to always relate to engineering. It could be fitness, it could be health, it could be relationships, it could be talking to people. Is like a simple example is like when we hear something about someone, it's like we could just simply ask, is like is this just like, am I hearing it? Like what or if I felt a particular way, like how much of this is an assumption compared to how much of this is a fact, right? It's like, or when someone's having a bad day, or like there are many things that it can help us with, and I think first principles it's one of those tools that's rarely utilized, and it's rarely talked about. It's very unfortunate that it is. Well, the person in the front almost hit my car, so well, that's not nice driving. We've got to be a bit careful about that one. And let's see if the person has to say anything. Well, it's okay. People will do people stuff. But either way, yeah, first principles is something that I think, if I were to go back to, something that all of us should know about, and all of us should think about. And like, it helps us question our assumptions. It helps us understand things on a more granular level. And surprisingly, it's interesting is that the more granularity we have, when it comes to understanding something, oftentimes, like, we find that it carries over to other subjects as well. It's not just one thing, and the more we think about it, and think about things in terms of first principle, I've found, at least from my personal experience, the better we get at doing it. But yeah, like, I'm pretty sure there was a ton of fluff in what I talked about today, and a lot of unnecessary stuff. Yeah, like, let me know. Like these videos aren't scripted or anything. They're just more of a vlog style content, or more like just me talking to myself. This is what I would typically do anyway. I just wanted to I just thought that it's good if I just put it out there and I can actually engage with more people and have good conversations at the same time. But yeah, let me know what you all think. If you think I should just stop talking in general, or this is weird. I just find it helps me clarify my thinking. It always helps me clarify or clear out any faulty assumptions that I may have. Similar to rubber ducking in programming, I think. If you're familiar with programming, you know what's rubber ducking. But this time I thought I would just, make sure it's more accessible, or like it's an actual conversation with someone else who can give me feedback rather than just me just talking to myself. But that being said, that's been it. I'm here at the gym. Time to get a workout in, apply some of my own first principle things to my routine, and I hope that helped. Wish you the best, and be your best self, to your best self. Until next time, peace.